I haven't changed anything. I haven't looked anything over. I'm just going to go straight to simulation here, and maybe this will compile, maybe it won't. I'm hoping it does, but time will tell very shortly. While I was editing this yesterday, while I was editing some of the videos, I did notice a few mistakes. I don't remember if it was in my ladders or my function blocks, and I didn't even go back and fix those. So nothing that wouldn't cause it to compile, but when we actually go to try to run the system, I saw some things that would stop us from it. Basically like alarms with reverse polarity. Like maybe we were looking for the overspeed or the RPMs to be like higher than the overspeed or lower than the overspeed value or something like that. So, you know, just wonky little stuff like that. The good news is, check it out, we compiled. Okay, that's pretty tight. That's already a good start. So we're in our main now, and let's go ahead and go into monitoring. And here we go. We are monitoring. We've got lots of green on the side, and we're already in paradigm 1 ladders. So let's go to our alarm ladders program block, and let's try to simulate some alarms. We can start with this oil low flow. So let's go into monitoring. And our oil low flow delay set point right now is 0. Well, I'm just going to go through and set all of our delay set points to 5. So we're going to set that one to 5, come down here to network 2, set overcurrent to 5, network 3, and this is something that will just persist for all of the paradigms that we test. So not a problem there. Okay, why is this one? Look at this. This one's already set to 5 because it's got the wrong damn set point in there. So that should actually be overspeed delay set point. And let's re-download that. Load it. Okay, get rid of these properties. Now let's set that again. That's going to be 5. Network 5. Set the delay. We've got one more of these, and that's our break failure. And that break failure, and I know that one's supposed to be like 30 seconds or something, but just for testing, I'm just setting these to 5. And the e-stop, we don't have any time on an e-stop ever. So yeah, that doesn't need one of these. So we now have our 5-second times going into our delay timers. That's a good thing. That logic works probably all the way down. And now we're looking for our oil flow to be lower than our set point. So let's go ahead and set this set point up to something like 20 maybe. And our oil pump is not energized and our brake is not energized. Well, once we energize this, after 5 seconds we should get some alarms. So modify to 1, and it looks like it didn't modify. The only thing I can think of is maybe we've got something in our I/O or HOA that's not allowing that to be 1. So let's come in here, and our oil pump VFD is, we've got this set to 0. All of our HOAs are set to 0. So because of that, it's going to force all of these things off. That makes sense. So to test this alarm, we're going to have to set that to 2 or to 1. So let's go ahead and put that into a 1. We need to turn this thing on, modify to 1, modify to 0. And now let's pop back into the alarms. Okay, now we've timed out 5 seconds on this. Our one shot energized our trigger bit. our alarm and our notify both got set. And let's toggle our alarm reset. And the alarm should disappear for 5 seconds, but then come back. Boom, there's our alarms back. And if I silence this, it should not come back. So modify to 1, modify to 0. Timer's not timing, notification is gone, life is good. And let's go ahead and try to set that oil flow to 30. And why can't we set that oil flow? I wonder, do we have simulation logic running? I thought we disabled that. So sim logic is not running, but for some strange reason I'm not able to set my flow. Let's go into I/O ladder. And you know what? Yeah, we've got that in here, and so now we've got scaling that's setting that oil flow. So we've got to change our signal in if we want to modify our oil flow. So let's pop that up to something like, I don't know, 22,000. Not 220,000, that's 22,000. And there, that put it up to 24 gallons. Okay, so when we go back into our alarms ladder now, yeah, now we're above that set point. Our alarm remains, and it will remain until we reset. So modify to 1 and modify back to 0. Okay, so that alarm works, and if one of these works, I'm going to assume everything else probably works as well. I do want to look, let's see, for brake failure, I'm looking for the RPMs to be greater than 0. For high flow alarm, yeah, oil flow needs to be above the set point, not below the set point. So let's fix that. For overspeed, RPMs need to be over the set point, not below the set point. See, I told you I saw some polarity issues in here. Oil temp needs to be over high. Current needs to be over current. Oil flow needs to be below low flow. Okay, so I think everything in there is right. I made some corrections, so I'm just going to go ahead and save that and load it to update it. I'm done testing ladders. So I'm going to close that. We've got our I/O ladder open. Close that. We're back into main. We also had our HOA ladders open, and we're going to close that. So now let's put ourselves into the next paradigm, which is function blocks. So we need to be monitoring here. Modify to 1, modify to 0. Now we're set to paradigm 2. Let's go into function block alarms, and we'll just test. Look, we've got brake failure right in front of us. I mean, hey, it's a sign. Let's just test brake failure. So where are we at here? The delay is set to 5 seconds. That's good. We're looking for RPMs to be greater than 0. So let's go to function block I/O. Run this up, and let's get those RPMs somewhere up there. So here's RPM, and let's just set that at like 4,000. So now our RPMs are 29. It's pretty slow, but that's okay. And let's go into alarms again. So now we've got our RPMs greater than 0. Let's energize our brake, and we're going to have to go into HOA for that. So HOA FBD. Let's get rid of these damn properties on the bottom. Those piss me off. Come up to the top somewhere. I think it's the, yeah, here we go. Our brake HOA. Let's go into monitoring, and we're going to put that into hand. So modify to 1, modify to 0. And let's go back to our function block alarms. So yeah, now have we energized these things? Let's see, we've met all of the conditions. We've timed out for 5 seconds. So supposedly, yes, we have set those to our brake failure notify and our brake failure alarm. And let's go into a watch table just to double check that that's the case. So let's see here. Where's our watch table? Right here. Watch table 1. And we're looking for brake failure alarm and brake failure notify. Let's go online with these and look at that. Our alarms are definitely not energized. Sometimes I don't trust what I see in here, so that's why I went over there to check. So why don't we have, and where did we go? Oh, these are HOAs. Yeah, we want to be in alarms. That's why we're not seeing that. Okay, so for whatever reason, our brake failure alarm and notify are not energized. So our alarm reset and silence are not being pressed. Okay, we've got our 5 seconds on our timer, and the timer's energized and it's timed down. So I'm guessing we've got a bad one-shot address in here. So let's check those one-shot addresses. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and here it is down in network 7. Check this out. We've got OS 6 in use again. So that's where it was, and it was off to the left, which is why I wasn't finding it. So there, I knew it was something like that. The one shot cannot be used in multiple places. So let's go ahead and call that a static, and let's load our program again. And yes, we're going to reinitialize our database, which kind of sucks because I think it's going to set, oh good, it didn't reset everything back to 0, it seems. So now look at that, we've got our brake failure alarm and our brake failure notify once we cleaned up that bit. So that's perfect. Let's go back to our HOA, or rather let's go to our IO, and let's get a different value coming in on that RPM. So that RPM, where is it here? Oh, we've got to go into monitoring, and let's get that RPM value back down to 0. So we remove our alarm condition, come back in here, and let's try our alarm silence first. So modify to 1, modify back to 0, and our brake failure notification reset. And now let's get rid of our alarm, and it's gone. Okay, so I at this point am content with my function blocks. Still quite possible I've got some silly mistakes in there, and actually while I'm thinking about it and while we're in that lecture, I'm going to check the polarity on my function block. I don't need the database. Paul, don't open the freaking database. Open the freaking program block. Okay, I'm just going to scan my polarities. So my low flow is a less than, my overcurrent is a greater than, my high oil is a greater than, my overspeed is a greater than, high oil is a greater than, and brake failure is a greater than. Okay, so my polarities don't look bad in here, but boy, they looked terrible in my ladders, didn't they? Let's close out of here, get out of my HOAs. I'll probably come back to my watch table, so why don't I just leave that open for the time being. And let's check our next paradigm. So we're going to go to our SCLs. Modify to 1, modify back to 0. Alright, we're in SCL. Let's go into our SCL alarm. And, whew, oh boy, this is the fun stuff. So, let's go into monitoring, even though, of course, that doesn't really give us anything. So, yeah, so much for that. We will go into our watch table. And why don't we try out, let's go to something like high oil flow. And I already see I've got a little space in there that I didn't want, so no, I'm not going to go through and respace everything, but that one just jumped out at me, so I'll go ahead and reload just for fun. Let's check our high oil flow, and this of course we're going to check on a watch table. So let's come down here and get into our watch table. We're looking for high oil flows, so what do we need? First thing we need is to get rid of all this other crap because I don't want to see it. So now we're looking for our oil flow in, our oil flow. We're looking for our oil flow high set point. We're looking for our oil high flow alarm. We're looking for our oil high flow notify. We need alarm reset, alarm silence, and is that all? I think that might be all. So let's see where we're at. Right now we've got the notify and the alarm are true. Why is that? Because our set point is set to 0 and we have an oil flow of 24. Okay, that makes sense. I'm going to bump that oil flow up to that set point up to something like 10, and let's push that in. And I'm also going to bump my oil flow value down to something lower, so I'll set that input signal at 400, and then I'll go ahead and reset our alarms. So let's punch those values in, and good. Let's toggle our alarm reset button back off. Whoops, I didn't mean to eliminate that. There we go. Okay, so now our oil flow is 4, our set point is at 10, we're not getting any kind of conditions. That's good. So now let's bump this thing up to 20,000, and that's going to give us alarms in, and that gave us alarms instantaneously. That tells me that we don't have our oil flow high delay set point set. So let's pull that in here. And that's actually set to 5 seconds, so we're not timing in here. Let's go in and see what's going on. So our high oil flow, here's our timer. TI5 is where we're converting it. We're checking TI5, and then we've got our HOFAT trigger. And our HOFAT trigger is what should be setting these two alarms. So what it looks like is happening is, because I've got this true value in the timer, that timer is loading its value. Anytime we come into this if block, it's considering itself true, and there's never a reset. Okay, so what we're going to do here is just reset that timer. So let's come over here to timers, and you see here we've got this reset timer function, right? Well, watch this. In my if statement, I'm going to put an else in the middle of there. And for that else, I'm going to reset that timer. So I've got a timer reset right there, and it's looking for the name of that timer, which I'm just going to copy from here, Control C, paste that in here. So that will keep that timer reset. And let's go up here because I'm going to have to do that for all of these. So else, and I'm going to just punch in these this reset logic for the time being. Then I'm going to make one more trip back through here, and I'm going to copy and paste those timer names. So we've already got the else logic there. Let's put it here. And our e-stop doesn't get one, so hopefully I didn't miss any. So whoops, let's see, where are we at? Come on. So This timer is number 17. I'm just going to change the value. This one is 16. That one's good. This one should be 15. Let's come up a little bit. This one's 14. 13. And this is our last timer. And oh, it looks like I didn't put the logic in there. So let's put in the logic, and that's going to be 12. Okay, and I can already assume I'm going to have to do the same thing in my STL because I think I was handling those exactly the same without a reset. But, you know, simple oversight, not a big deal. Let's go ahead and test this now. So let's get back into our watch table and let's reset these alarms. And let's see, we are over our set point, so in 5 seconds, there we go. Okay, now our alarms come back the way that they're supposed to. So let's punch in a 0 for our flow. And I'll go ahead and punch in a 0 for our set point as well. And let's try to silence our alarm. Good. And then let's try to reset our other alarm, or our actual alarm rather than our notify. Good. And we'll go ahead and disable alarm silence and alarm reset. And sure enough, those things should not come back even though we wait 5 seconds. Okay, so we found a problem, but we fixed the problem. Let's close out of our SCLs. And now let's get into STL. And I already believe I've got that same problem in STL. So I'm just going to jump in there real quick. Oh, I'm opening SCL again. Dumb. Let's try that one more time. Okay, there's our STLs. Let's get these properties out of the way. And let's see, when we call our timers right here, I don't think we're ever resetting that. So we need a function that's going to reset that timer. Okay, so here's the call for our first timer, and right here we're analyzing OLFAT, which is our trigger bit, and we're making a conditional jump. Well, right after that conditional jump, assuming we don't make that conditional jump, that's where I'm going to reset my timer. So I'm going to pull that timer reset in here, and let's copy the name of that timer and drop it right here. Okay, so call reset timer, and this is, and get that pop-up out of my way. This is an IEC timer. All right, so let's copy that call. And I'm going to come down here and paste that in. So right after my conditional jump, there's my timer reset, and I need to bump the number on that name up to 19. Come down here, there's my timer, my conditional jump. Let's insert my reset, and that should be number 20. All right, next timer. Here we go. There's our conditional jump. The number on this one is 21. Got it? Timer, conditional jump. Timer's 22. All right, and I think this is my last one, and that number's 23. Okay, let's load this thing to the PLC. before we test it. So we already found and I think fixed one mistake. Now we could monitor in here and we could probably work through some of this stuff, but since we're going to have to use some stuff in I/O or HOA and stuff like that anyway, let's just be easy about it and do it all from a watch table. So I'm going to jump in to my watch table here, and actually I'm not seeing any values. I'm wondering if this thing's being energized, so I'm just going to double check that it is. Let's come back in here and have I got this thing set to STL? Well, I'm not monitoring, so let's find out. So I'm still on SCL, so that's probably why. Let's toggle my push button to STL. So modify to 1, back to 0. Whoops, I missed. Man, that's hard to click on. Okay, so now, yes, I'm energizing my alarm STL. There, now I'm getting some values in here. Okay, so which alarm do I want to test? I think I'm going to be easy and I'm going to test something like, let's test Overspeed. Sounds good. So let's come into our watch table here and we want RPM in, we want RPM, we want our overspeed set point. Oh, not overcurrent. We want our overspeed set point. So where is that guy? Overspeed set point. We want our overspeed alarm. Got it. We want our overspeed notify. And we want our overspeed delay set point. Okay, so right now everything's false and everything's unset. Let's put our overspeed set point at something like, let's say 30 RPMs. All right. And our delay set point is already at 5. That's good. So we've got an RPM coming in of 0. And what else are we looking for overspeed? I don't think we had any other conditions. So if I put this up to something like 26,000 input signal, that should give us an alarm within 5 seconds. So now we're at 188 RPMs, 5 seconds, tick tock, and dun, da, 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 I don't see any alarms. So we should be overspeeding. We should have met delay. Looks like we might have a problem here. So where's our overspeed alarm? Right here. And what's going on? So this is all grayed out. I wonder if we're even jumping to that. And look at that. We've still got end of lines in there, so we're skipping over that altogether. We shouldn't be doing that. So here we go. So let's go through here, and we need to make sure we don't have end of lines. So we're jumping to overcurrent. Once we get to our overcurrent, we're jumping to high oil temp alarm. High oil temp alarm. Everything looks good. We're getting here. And then, here's a jump to end of line. So let's get our high oil flow alarm. High oil flow. And let's see, where was it? Right somewhere on here I saw an end of line, didn't I? I could have sworn I did. Oh, there we go. It's right up above there, so it's before overspeed. We need to jump to overspeed, not end of line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that's all of those. Let's give a look back through our actual overspeed section here. And we're jumping to high oil flow, 1, 2, 3, 4 more. And once we get down to brake failure, are we jumping into that? Yes. In brake failure, we're jumping to E-stop alarm. Okay, and down here, all right, that should do it. So let's send this in. Hey, we're actually finding some bugs, even though we're doing this really simple little debug, we're still finding stuff. So, ooh, that's not good, right? Okay, so we've sent that in, and I'm not seeing anything popping up here on alarms. So I would expect that we should. Let's see why we're not. I don't see us coming down here into, yeah, we're coming down into that one. We're coming down into there. We've got data there. And let's look at our data on overspeed. So what's happening? We're loading our RPMs. We're loading our overspeed. And it looks like, we're looking for it to be less than, not greater than. So polarity bit me in the ass again. Let's go back through our polarities. So low oil flow is a less than. We've got overcurrent. That should be a greater than. Our high oil temp should be a greater than. Overspeed is now a greater than. High oil flow should be a greater than. Man, look at this. I told you I had issues. I got mad issues. Brake failure is a greater than. And I'm going to, just for fun, I'm going to pop back into my SCL, and I'm going to see if I have polarity issues here too. So low oil is a less than. Overcurrent is a greater than. High oil is a greater than, overspeed is a greater than, high oil is a greater than, and brake failure is a greater than. Let's close out of there. It looks like I've got my polarity straight now. So let's download this, load it, and let's jump back into our watch table, and we should be in time to see the alarms fire. And I'm still not seeing alarms. What the hell, guy? Come on. Okay, back to our overspeed. We're at 188.30. Yes, we're energizing our timer. So we're coming down here, and it looks like we have not timed out. And I see what happened. Whenever I called my reset, basically that reset is running all of the time. So I put that in there kind of sloppy. What happens is we run through our timer logic, and anytime our timer has not completely timed out, we're resetting it. So basically, as soon as our timer, whether it's at 0 or whether it starts timing or whether it's not timing, it's always resetting. So yeah, that's where I screwed up right there. So what I need to do is relocate this reset somewhere else. And let's go ahead and cut that out of here. So who's trying to set a breakpoint? Quit bothering me. Okay. So let's cut that out of there, and let's be logical here. Where do we need to put that? Well, we want it to time when the conditions are right, and otherwise we want that thing to reset. So when would that timer need to reset? Well, let's say that it's going to reset after it sets the bits. And that's probably not just perfect code, but that should work. So at least we know A, it is getting reset eventually, and B, it's getting reset after it sets those. And I can actually, I've got a better idea of where to put that. Let's get out of there. When do I really want to reset that timer? And that would be on an alarm reset. So let's just reset that with the alarm. That makes perfect sense. So come in here. Let's take our call to reset, Control X, and we're going to put that in our alarm, in our set alarm, or our reset alarm. come down here, take our call to reset, and put that right in there. Call to reset. Come down to our reset alarm. Put it right before the jump. High oil flow, we want to do the same thing. Cut that. Paste it right in there. And brake failure should be our last one. Cut that call. Yeah, because I'm trying to set a breakpoint. You figured me out. And there's our reset alarm. Okay, I think we've got it now. I'm sure of it. So let's load this thing, jump back to our watch table, and 5 seconds, boom! Yes, look at that. We got some alarms. Oh, we got an alarm and a notify. I love it. Oh, that's what I'm looking for. Hot. All right, so let's reset it. And okay, looks like we've still got a problem because we've sent in our alarm reset and it looks like we did not reset the timers. So let's jump back in here and I'm just going to scroll back up to the top. So once I called alarm reset, I called for the timer to reset, and for whatever reason it looks like that didn't happen. So let's come down to Overspeed and see if maybe we've got like the wrong name in there. Here's Overspeed and reset alarm. We're trying to reset alarm 21 and there is alarm 21. So why didn't we reset that? And I also didn't see us resetting any alarms. So do we have logic to even jump into there? Yes, but that is only evaluating after we evaluate the alarm conditions. That's the problem. So while those alarm conditions exist, we're never going to be able to reset the alarm. So we need to put that reset alarm before we evaluate those conditions. So let's come up here and what are we looking for? We're looking for someone to hit alarm reset and we're looking for the front positive of that. So it looks like we need these 4 steps right here. So I'm going to Control X to cut those out and I'm going to paste those right there in the beginning. And let's come down here to the next ones. And you know what? I think I need the alarm silence as well now that I think about it. So let's take the alarm silence logic and Control X that. Come up here. So now we're looking for alarm silence and alarm reset before we're evaluating these alarm conditions. I think that's going to get us where we want to be. So let's cut all of this out. Alarm reset, alarm silence, cut. Paste that in to the top. And I didn't copy my CLR. So let's punch that. Man, that's not what I wanted. Why won't you go to a separate line? How do I put in a line break? I swear this editor is just strange sometimes. Okay, so load current, load over current, and we don't need our clear there. Yeah, because the backspace button is trying to set a breakpoint. I wish they would really just fix this software. It'd be so good if they would just fix it and, you know, make it good. Okay, alarm reset, alarm silence, clear. Okay, we've got that one right. Alarm reset, alarm silence, and jumping to and clearing, and then yeah, okay. So everything there is good. And let's come down to the next one. And here we go. We need the clear. Actually, we need the alarm silence and the alarm reset. So let's get all of that. Got it? Cut. Paste that into the beginning. And we need another clear here. And we need to get rid of the clear there. Okay, alarm reset, alarm silence, and then evaluate conditions. Okay, overspeed alarm. Same thing. Let's take all of this, cut, and paste it all in. Type in a clear here, and delete the clear from here. High oil flow. Cut. And paste. Add a line with a CLR. Delete the existing CLR that's no longer where we want it. And I think we've got 2 more of these to knock out. Alright, so cut, paste, clear. Got rid of that one, and last alarm. Let's get all the logic we want, cut it, bring it to the beginning, clear our register. Let's load it, let's test it. Here we go, dump it in, load it, back to our watch table. Okay, we've got alarms. Let's try to reset them. Boom, the alarms go bye-bye, but they should come back 5 seconds later. I saw that, they came back 5 seconds later. And let's zero our RPM out. So zeroed out, our alarms remain. Let's try to silence the alarm. Alarm silence works, and the alarm isn't coming back. Good. And what if I bring the condition back? So the condition's back, and you know what? The alarm silence notify popped right back in. And I'm not sure if my timer is working or not. Let's double check this. So I'm going to eliminate my condition and reset my alarm. Okay, so no alarm resets, no alarm silences. And now let's just plug in a high value. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom. Okay. That worked the way that I want it to work. Now let's reset this stuff. The alarms are gone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they come back. Yes, okay, so things are working the way that I want. So zero that out, reset my alarms. What happened? Did I not push that in? Maybe I pushed it in at the same time, and so it registered like a scan late, which is not a problem. Let's punch it in again. Good. Reset those alarms. Okay. That looks like it's working. So